I miss that theme song. I got to be honest with you. I miss hearing it every week.
It's been a while.
Yeah, good to be back. It is LAFC Plus. He is Mario Ruiz. I'm Dave Denholm. Mario, how are you, buddy? How you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy holidays to you, Davey, and to everybody joining us here on LAFC Plus. You know, the holiday spirit is in the air. I got the mate flowing over here, and the smell of tamales is in the air over here at my side of the area. So yeah, we're ready. Season number 8 already, Dave.
Have a dear friend of ours out in like the Calabasas area who always throws a great Christmas tamale party. Oh
yeah.
It's the best. Absolutely. Look forward to that every year. This is episode
Which one is your favorite?
42.
Which one's your favorite, Dave? The chicken, the beef, the cheese? Which one? Which tamales?
I'm not going to lie. I got to have a little substance in there. I got to have some chicken or beef. You know, like nothing wrong with a cheese tamale if you like that, I guess, but I want it all. Cheese, and beef or chicken, and, some sour cream on there or whatever.
My favorite is the cheese with the jalapeno in there. Oh, delicious.
Yeah, now that's sometimes the jalapeno, a little strong for me at times. Most of the time I can handle jalapeno, but I'm soft, man. I'm weak when it comes to the heat. When it comes to the heat, I'm weak, but I have missed you. Not you, Mario. We talk all the time. I mean, I missed you too, but we've talked all the time. But
I missed you,
the
Dave.
audience.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, missed doing this show, episode 42. But it is a special episode, really. It's schedule release day. As we do this show around MLS, we've only had a little bit of time to kind of dissect this, but we have been since it's been released hours ago on this, what is a Thursday the 19th. If you're listening to this a little bit later, this is when we're recording it. It is schedule release day in MLS. One of my favorite days, honestly, Mario, because, with our jobs, handling the LAFC radio broadcasts, we can start planning, and it's fun. I mean, it's all speculation until you actually see the schedule and see what kind of games. And we're going to break it all down for you today. Super pumped to be here and back at it. Just a little programming note, by the way, if you've wondered, we haven't done a show since the end of the season. This was always in the plans, though. We talked about doing the schedule release show. And then we're back in full force early in the preseason, probably the second week, roughly right around there in the preseason. So we won't wait until the season starts. We'll have a couple of episodes before the campaign gets going for LAFC. And of course, that's earlier than most because of CONCACAF Champions Cup. Excuse me.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that too. Of course, we knew that was on, but we'll break this down. But it is MLS schedule release day, Mario. And let me ask you, we'll start here. Where do you go as soon as you see the schedule? Does that make sense? Like, what are you looking for in the MLS schedule, specifically LAFC's, of course? And we know, again, not so much, maybe it is for your job or there's a reason. What do you go to right off the bat?
Usually, most seasons, I look for the derby match right away. Yeah. Where's the derby matches at? How many are we playing? Are we going to play 3? Are we going to be 4th of July? Are we going to be at the Rose Bowl? So first off, I look for the derby matches versus the Galaxy. But this year coming up, I wanted to see when are we playing Seattle again? I need payback on Seattle. That's what I was looking for. How about you, Dave? What were you looking for?
We will get to all those. Those are great. I always look for the Galaxy matches first, the derby matches. And I look for the opener just to see when, where, are we going to be traveling? What's going on there? And then I kind of peruse the Eastern Conference teams. So once I get the Galaxy, now this year I kind of look for San Diego, I got to admit, because they're new, expansion teams. I love doing that. And of course it's San Diego. That's going to become a rivalry, I'm sure, with all the SoCal teams. But so it was a little different, but usually I then go try to find the East because we always play just a few, as we all know, just a handful of Eastern Conference teams. Usually always 3 at home, 3 on the road. So I was like, where are we going in the East? Is it a tough trip? Remember last season, it was, crazy how far we were traveling at time, to go to those matches. So, and there's a little bit of that, we'll see, we'll get to that too, but yeah, that's where my eye goes, if you will.
You know what else I want to get to, though, is later on, my 2 disappointments. Because I have 2 big disappointments from this 2025 schedule in regards to LAFC. So let's get to those in a little bit.
Yeah, let's get to this first. No more 3 times a year matchups in terms of MLS. Of course, you can end up playing a team possibly in the, Leagues Cup, Champions Cup. You could always see a team. We saw Seattle what felt like 10 times last year because of the other competition. But no more 3 MLS regular season games because of the addition of San Diego. If you remember last and the previous, Galaxy and LAFC played 3 times, and LAFC and San Jose last season played 3 times. That will not happen anymore because of the addition of San Diego now. That evens it out for the Western Conference. Both conferences now have 15 teams, so it is a little more even that way. You get 28 games in your conference, home and away, and then 6 individual games in the East, 3 at home, 3 away. It just depends on how the schedule falls. You don't know who you're playing. Well, first things first, we do open on the opening weekend in MLS like everybody does, February 22nd. We are the second MLS game this year. Now, we do play earlier in Concacaf. We won't get too deep into that. We all know that draw with Colorado. We have a game on that Tuesday before the MLS opener at Colorado. But it's Minnesota United coming to our stadium here at BMO. And on February 22nd will be the second game in the MLS schedule. Inter Miami opens up against NYCFC, and then it's LAFC hosting Minnesota. Mario, what do you think of that one?
Off another home game, right, to open up the season. And LAFC are not bad in season openers. Matter of fact, going undefeated, right, in 7 total home openers with 14 goals for LAFC in season openers, Dave, and only conceding a total of 4 goals. So that's pretty dominant in season openers. And then the fact that this one's at home, I'm super excited for this one. And, it's going to be a great one at BMO Stadium in the middle of the day. I believe it's a 1:30 kickoff,
early game. Game for us because there's an earlier
national
game
TV. Everybody's going to be watching. Yeah.
Inter Miami and NYCFC kick off the season 2 hours before us. Of course, that's on the East Coast or, Eastern time zone. So they are a little bit earlier. They will kick off the season. Then we follow immediately. Then it gets back to more kind of usual night games everywhere else around MLS. Now, speaking of NYCFC, they open the season at Inter Miami. Then they travel to LAFC for the second match of the season. No easy feat for NYCFC. Good luck to them. That is March 1st. It's another home game. And the only reason I mention it is because LAFC don't go on the road until March 8th. Our first road game is Mario's Quest at Lumen Field in Seattle, Mario, the 3rd game of the season. There it is. A little bit of rematch, a little bit of hopefully some revancha and La Cancha there.
I already got that one circled on the schedule. I'm sure the players do as well. I'm sure Toronto does as well.
Absolutely. So it's a couple of games at home. Then you go on the road. Then you're back at home against Austin. And what I like about this schedule, Mario, yes, Concacaf Champions Cup can be amidst a lot of this, right? We could be having a lot of Tuesday, Wednesday. That's what it's built in. But it's all Saturday in MLS for a long stretch there. It's just virtually every Saturday early in the season. We do start heading on the road, though. There's a little 3-game road trip there that kind of – and in the middle of that road trip, on Saturday, March 29th, it is at San Diego there, down at Snapdragon Stadium. So that's going to be a big one, too. The first SoCal derby with San Diego there involved against LAFC, Mario. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to visit Snapdragon Stadium. I think we should go and make that trip, make that road trip over there, take the radio team over there and do that from Snapdragon Stadium in classy San Diego, March 29th. That's going to be great. Looking forward to doing that one, Dave, and hopefully getting the rivalry started in like a cracking game. Kind of like how Galaxy and LAFC got it going back in 2018. That's what San Diego and LAFC I hope for in that game. Get a good rivalry started there, right?
Cannot disagree with what you're saying there. You do. You need a big. Now, you don't want to ignite it with a loss, of course, but you want a nice. You don't want 6-0, although we'll take it. I shouldn't say I don't want it, but I know what you mean from a pure kind of neutral standpoint of when an expansion team comes in and wants to build a rivalry with someone. Now, of course, we want to start thrashing them right away, but you get my point. You want to see interesting kind of games and see how they start to play. The interesting thing is San Diego opening against LA Galaxy, of course, as we know, on that Sunday to begin the season. So they could really take a pounding there if they're not ready. But by the time we play them, they'll be 6-7 games deep. So, or at least that would be like their 6. So they should be ready and kind of flowing, better by that time when we take them on. First matchup against Bruce Arena's San Jose Earthquakes at BMO Stadium on April 12th. That'll be a good one. Also, another highlight is a little stretch here, Mario. May. Holy cow.
May is a tough month. Wow. I was looking at that, Dave. Yeah.
Let's go through that. Yeah. Let's tell us what that May looks like, Mario. We got it's even home and away, kind of. It's distributed nicely, but it is busy.
Yeah, and Galaxy's in the middle of that as well, and Seattle's in there too. So there's some really, really big matches there. 7 matches in that month. Tough games on top of that.
MLS.
Houston.
We don't know. Yeah, who knows if there could be another, Concacaf Champions Cup or something,
That's going to be a new look Houston team that they face. Vancouver, who we know very well and we don't want to face anymore, but they'll of course be in the middle of that month. Seattle at Galaxy. We're facing Montreal, Sporting
at
KC.
Montreal, so it's a tough trip, long trip. Yeah. That's one of the longest for LAFC that you could possibly have. And then you're back home for the last couple.
Yeah, versus Colorado. And I think Colorado is going to be a team that we see a lot of this year. And they're actually the last game of the season as well. They're actually a team that we face in Concacaf Champions. So I think that team right there can play a big part of LAFC's 2025. Hopefully LAFC are triumphant and successful against that Rapid squad, who can be very tough to play, especially on the road over there in the altitude.
Looks like LAFC have a week off to begin June, like a weekend off. And, remember, there's other things going on in the schedule. All through, we've got big competitions coming up in terms. Remember, they said they were going to take a little time off for Club World Cup, not because we're in it, but the league said they were going to take. So that's part of that. You play on May 31st, but you have that first weekend off in June. So you almost get like 2 weeks, essentially. That's kind of a bit of a break there until you kick back up. At home, thankfully, June 13th to get back to it against Toronto. That's one of our Eastern Conference opponents. We'll get to that in a bit. And then it's going to be busy late in the year just with all the stuff going on. Leagues Cup. Let's get into that, Mario. Leagues Cup is different. It does go for a month, kind of a month like it did, July 29th through August 31st, which is the final this season. And here's the difference. MLS doesn't stop. Liga MX does not stop. It's going to be more midweek for the Leagues Cup, and they haven't determined the official format yet, at least as far as we know right now. But they have said it isn't going to be like where Liga MX sides are coming over for 6 weeks and interrupting their, and just living in the U.S. essentially and camping. It's not that anymore. So what that opens up is potentially, we're not saying this is going to happen, but you could start to kind of see a future, Mario, where LAFC have to go to Monterrey, or they have to go, to Tijuana, or they got to go to Guadalajara, So I'm not saying that's going to happen this season. We don't know exactly, but it might open that up in the sense that these games are midweek. It's a new kind of format for the competition. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, this feels like the beginning of some new Leagues Cup standards, some new Leagues Cup rules here, especially for MLS, because they're not going to pause in the middle of the season. So this is going to get really, really congested for MLS teams. You're not going to be taking no month-long break. These Leagues Cup games are going to be squeezed into the calendar with MLS regular season games. So rotation for these MLS teams is really going to be key. And this is where we're going to see like the difference in the deep rosters, right? The difference between the top teams and the lower teams is going to be key as they start going deep into their bench. Something that's been different. In the past, they've been able to take a month off and you can only concentrate just on the Leagues Cup, but not this time around. You're going to have to go deep into your bench because you got to concentrate on that game coming up on Saturday, which is an MLS game. Then you got to concentrate on that Tuesday or Wednesday, which is a Leagues Cup game. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to balance that? A deep roster is needed for every MLS team if they want to go far into both MLS and Leagues Cup.
Yeah, the thing that scares me a bit, if I'm looking at this, because you're right on, the Leagues Cup starts July 29th, so there's a game for LAFC hosting Portland on the 25th. And then you start the Leagues Cup, you would assume, pretty much right around the 29th, But here comes LAFC's August. it's only on Saturdays in the MLS schedule, as Mario said. It'll be midweek for Leagues Cup. But it's at Chicago, at New England, at Dallas to start the month of August in MLS. So, Mario, there's a potential, even if you're playing at home in Leagues Cup, which would be great, right? You're still going on the road every weekend for the first 3, for the bulk of Leagues Cup. This is going to be tough. You know, heaven forbid you have to go to also Mexico at some, if that's, I'm not saying that's going to happen this year, but like, wow, that is a rough little stretch there, though, where
there's not much time to rest. There's not much time to game plan for each particular team that you're playing against.
2 Eastern Conference teams you're traveling across the country to go play. And Dallas isn't exactly, a 1-hour flight, although it's not that, crazy. But it's still at Dallas in what could be a tough, conference game. Woo, schedule maker. And then
very challenging,
at the end of the month, if you're in the Leagues Cup final, it's on a Sunday. So you would actually have to postpone at home against San Diego. Let's hope we have that problem. But then where does that game get jammed in? Because it is a cool game. Obviously it'll be at BMO. We'll have already played them, as we talked about at Snapdragon. But come on. That's an interesting little wrinkle there, that if you make the Leagues Cup final again, which we obviously did this past season, you'd have to postpone that game for even further.
Yeah.
Now, the good news is, as usual, September and October, a little lighter. A lot of that is the international windows where we no longer play in. So you're not like loaded down with games to end the season going into the crucial playoffs, right? So that's nice. But boy, the hot months of July and August, as usual, are going to be sizzling this season, no doubt.
Dave, it's nonstop. I mean, we have no choice but to be just nonstop. It's going to be thrilling. It's going to be exhausting. It's going to be super congested. But, LAFC need to just hit the ground running, because before even that MLS game, that first game, you have a crucial game against Colorado in the Concacaf Champions, which everybody knows how important that is for LAFC. And from there is Saturday, and then another game in the midweek for Concacaf Champions, and then another Saturday game for MLS. So this February, March is going to be super crucial for LAFC. It's going to be very tough.
Get it right. Yeah, got to get it right from the jump, no doubt. Let's go to the big ones, though, as we talked about. We both said this the first thing we look at. We've held it back a little bit just to kind of – and now they happen to be – it's so hard to say, 2024 MLS Cup champion LA Galaxy. That's a kick in the teeth. Our first match against the Galaxy is on the road. It's early enough in the season where it's kind of exciting. I hate waiting too long. It's May 18th at Dignity Health Sports Park against the Galaxy on a Sunday. Galaxy have a lot of Sunday matches, I noticed, as I went through the whole MLS schedule. Maybe because they're defending champs or whatever, but I don't know if maybe the Galaxy like those Sunday matches particularly. Maybe they requested, I don't know. But we are playing them. The first match we play them on a Sunday, May 18th, earlier game, 4 p.m., so a little bit earlier kickoff. And then the return leg at BMO, you got to wait all the way to July 19th, right before, kind of Leagues Cup gets going in about 10 days after that. So, but that'll be a big one. July 19th, Saturday, mark it down.
I'm extra hyped this year, Dave, for these derby matches. I mean, since the inception of LAFC, we know that the black and gold have been super successful, right? Going to numerous finals, winning multiple trophies, supporter shields, MLS Cup, US Open Cup in 2024. And of course, Galaxy got their MLS Cup this year. Props to them, but the Galaxy really haven't done that much since LAFC stepped on the scene. Now they come in as the defending champions. So that's good for the rivalry. That's good for MLS. It's good for both clubs. It's on in 2025, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And, finishing obviously it's extended or it's built up even more since the Galaxy actually won the cup. But to finish 1-2 in the West, even to finish 1-2 in the West, the regular season was nerve-wracking and crazy and, all that. And, of course, we beat them 2 out of 3 in the regular season. But that last one was big. We thought it might have cost us the Western Conference, top spot. In the end, we bail out. We come all the way crashing through, and they, lose it in the last seconds. It was just insane. And yet they somehow still win the cup. Oh, man, just pandemonium there in 2024. If you really look at the season the way it went, because it's so long that you don't often do that. But when I have a chance to step back after a season, and we all do, it's like, what a crazy battle that was, really. And then
Oh, yeah.
Let's face it, they benefited, of course. They deserve to win. They were the best team in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But they need, I would have loved to see us play them at BMO Stadium. Let's just say that and see what happens, at
we all
BMO.
would have loved that one for sure.
But, to their credit, they beat Seattle, who, knocked us out. So you just got to lick your wounds and get back at it and expect to win trophies again in 2025. And this is the schedule.
You talked about that decision day for that amazing decision day from 2024.
Yeah.
That brings me to one of my disappointments about this 2025 schedule is the fact that decision day is going to be on the road, Dave. It's going to be on the road for LAFC in that high altitude of Colorado. We know how crazy things happen on decision day, just like it did in 2024. LAFC was at home. Galaxy was on the road, and LAFC finished in first place in the West. This time around, decision day will be on the road. That's a big game for me. I always look at that one when the schedule comes out. And just like I thought, I knew it was going to be big in 2024. And that's what happened in 2024. It was a huge day for LAFC. So we shall see what happens in 2025.
I don't disagree on that disappointment. I think you're right. That's going to be tough. What about, you have another one you said? You had a couple of disappointments or?
The other one is that LAFC do not face Messi and Inter Miami in 2025.
I figured that would be a big one.
Didn't get to face them in 2024 either. I mean, let's face it, it's a big stage, right? When teams go up against Inter Miami, the world is watching. I want LAFC on that stage. As many big stages as possible for LAFC. I thought that this year LAFC might get a chance to visit Inter Miami since Messi did come to BMO Stadium in 2023.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of MLS fans would have liked to see LAFC against Inter Miami as well. It's two big teams, two of the bigger teams in MLS. Why not?
Okay, but a slight counterpoint.
Okay.
Let's meet them in the Concacaf Champions Cup. That bracket is all set, ready to roll.
Love that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they and Columbus actually have a bye. We face Colorado, as we said, in the first round.
Yeah.
We then have to beat Columbus on the road. I mean, that's
what a marquee matchup that would be early on in the Concacaf Champions Cup.
I shouldn't say on the road. Yeah, we just go in to play Colorado, or I'm sorry, Columbus in the next round. Then you hope Inter Miami had won their first, which is the second round. Why not? Then we'd have to beat them. Hey, if you're going to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup, man, it is no easy ride anymore.
If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And what a road LAFC will have to be the best in CONCACAF Champions. Wow.
Absolutely. Eastern Conference opponents, Mario, just because we don't always see these teams, it's always interesting to me, like, who we get to play, who do we get to see come to BMO that obviously we don't play them every year, and there's some teams we haven't played for a while now. Again, March 1st, NYCFC visits, and then it's a while yet. Then in May, we go to Montreal on May 24th. Interesting. Great city. Got no problem with that. Have Toronto at home on June 13th. So we get both Canadian teams from the Eastern Conference. Of course, we'll play Vancouver twice, but we get both from the East. So it's a Canadian kind of year. 4 out of our 34 matches in the MLS regular season will be against Canadian teams. And then later, we mentioned that at Chicago, at New England, back-to-back in August, in the midst of the Leagues Cup. Hopefully we're still, making a run in that deep run. And then finally, versus Atlanta on October 5th. So a late little twist there. Thankfully, it's at BMO, where we don't go all the way to Atlanta, play on that turf. Atlanta, though, kind of leads us into what we're going to talk about in a little bit. I think that's going to be interesting. So some unique matchups there in the East. We haven't seen Chicago in a while. That will be interesting. Greg Berhalter, we'll talk about that, of course. That is your schedule, though, Mario. What is the highlight to you? Or is there kind of intriguing time? Because to me, it feels like it's a pretty good schedule where it's not crazy amounts of road trips. There's a few, back-to-backs and back-to-back-to-back, but you get a lot of home and away interspersed where you're not spending 5 weeks straight at home, but then you pay for it late in the year kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It seems pretty balanced.
Yeah. It is. And I'm really looking forward to San Diego FC just because they have that big star, Chucky Lozano. He's going to have a lot of fans everywhere he goes around MLS with all the Mexican fans that follow MLS. And, he's got a supporting cast. Hannibal Godoy, he just got, arrived at San Diego FC, so that's a big one. Andres Reyes from New York Red Bulls, that's a big one. And then when he comes to BMO Stadium, that's going to be another historic matchup right there. There's going to be a lot of fans showing up just to see Chucky play. That's an enticing matchup, and we'll see what happens in that first game. And after the result of that first game, that's going to make the second game even bigger when it comes to BMO Stadium. But there's another game on the MLS schedule that I thought was interesting, was Columbus hosting Inter Miami at Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland, Dave. That's a massive match in a huge stadium. Yeah.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
A lot of people from Cleveland have texted me already how excited they are for this.
Yeah.
Here's what happens, though. Columbus fans go nuts, right? They were not happy. Because, why are you moving our Miami game? And I can't dispute that. I would prefer, like I think everybody, just have the game in your home city. Now, if you want to move it to a bigger stadium, maybe, I don't like that either, to be honest. But
I don't like that either.
To move it a couple hours away. See, people think Cleveland and Columbus are like suburbs. No, of course. There's like 2.5 hours between them almost. So, roughly 2.5, 3 hours, not quite 3, but if you drive like my wife does, it's about an hour and a half. She's a lead foot. But anyway, that's a whole other. So I get why they're a little bit, but remember, the Cleveland Browns owner, owns the Columbus Crew as well. He's part, so he's involved in that. Here's another thing, Mario. Columbus just played Inter Miami at home in October. That took a little bit of the edge off for me in the sense that, now I'm not saying they shouldn't be upset. They have every right to want to play in their home stadium, their season ticket. But season ticket holders will get a ticket in Cleveland for sure, as good or better than their actual season tickets in Columbus Crew, the crewlower.com field. I know it's, I don't want to travel. I get that. But it does grow the game. And this is Lionel Messi. And I think a lot of people forget, and they don't want to hear this, but we are in the entertainment business. Now, as a fan, you don't care about that. I get it. But we're not in the soccer business.
Yeah.
LAFC, Columbus Crew, MLS, Lionel Messi, Inter Miami. We're not in the soccer business. People don't remember that. They don't like to hear that. You're in the entertainment business. And
capital business.
To grow the game. Well, that too, yeah. Entertainment and business are equally important, though, in that sentence. To grow the game, sometimes you got to make these kind of moves. This is not two Spanish teams coming over from La Liga to play a league match in Miami. I don't want that. That is ridiculous. Yeah. But this is, there are a lot of Columbus Crew fans in the Cleveland, Ohio area. There'll be even more after this match. And yes, of course, people are going to go see Lionel Messi. I get it.
Yeah.
That's another, that's another thing that I keep telling people. Go see Lionel Messi. How many more opportunities are you going to have? A lot of people are excited in Cleveland for it. Again, not that should mean too much to most of the, but that adds to the MLS fan base. Whatever team they end up, I'm sorry, it's not a terrible thing. No,
well, that's what you hope for. You hope for these people that go to see Messi. Hopefully, they do become a Columbus fan or even an Inter Miami fan, whatever. But as long as they're supporting MLS and supporting football here in America, that's what we want. But now, Mario, for Columbus, I think that game might kind of feel like a road game, because of all the fans, the casual fans that do come just to see Messi.
Yeah, because there's not a huge connection between Columbus and Cleveland. In the sense of it's not like they love each other or anything. There's no real rivalry per se because Columbus Blue Jackets, Cleveland doesn't have a hockey team to battle that. Columbus is the AAA affiliate, as we know, of the Cleveland Guardians. So there's no baseball rivalry, obviously. Ohio State, everybody loves Ohio State in Ohio. Even, Clevelanders love Ohio State. It's a huge, most people went to Ohio. So there's no rivalry, but there's also no real the Crew though have a lot of fans in Cleveland because they've been around since the day one of MLS, 1996, and then there is that little bit of Columbus versus Cincinnati where the Crew can now reestablish, build up that northern part of Ohio, build a fan base maybe a little bigger than Cincinnati, it's an interesting move. And again, look, if this was Messi's last year for sure, I would really hate this too. But by all rights, you never know. Like he could come back. He might not, but right? He could come back and play, and we never know with a guy who's, reaching close to retirement age. But if he comes back and they did it again, like if they move the next season, let's say Columbus has Inter Miami in the schedule, which they will every year. If they end up moving that game, like they go play in Buffalo or something, well, then it's, come on. You know what I mean? But a one-off, that thing, and you already had one in October. Messi got 2 goals against you in that match that you lost 3-2. So you had a chance to see him if you're a season ticket holder. Again, not trying to minimize their feelings, but it's like it does grow the game. It does. It grows the game, and it's Lionel Messi. And sometimes there are extenuating circumstances, whether you want to hear it or not, in the entertainment business.
One other thing that I noticed about the schedule is that we're not playing Galaxy 3 times. I kind of like it when derby matches go for 3 rounds in the season, just so that you could see who really runs the town, who runs the city, who is running the derby rivalry for that particular year. I think 1-1 is a lot of chance to just kind of be a little even there. I think 3 games is perfect for derby rivalries in one season.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that. What happens though? What do you think? Like Rose Bowl, pretty much gonna have to wait to see if there's ever maybe more expansion, that something changes where you do play the Galaxy 3 times. I don't know that we'll see a game in the Rose Bowl again if it's just the Galaxy home game that year. You know what I mean? Like they may not want to give that up, so to speak. I don't think either team would want to give up a home game if you weren't going to have another. So that's interesting. Of course, it's not on the schedule this season. We all know that. Like no July 4th match. In fact, LAFC on July 5th will be at Austin on a Saturday, so they won't even have a game on the actual 4th of July holiday, but they will be on the road at Austin. So, yeah, that's interesting. But more news beyond the schedule, which we've broken down and worked up everything for that, which is awesome. I love schedule release day. I'm sure you all know Aaron Long re-signs with LAFC. Big piece of business there, Mario. Love to see that. Huge. Free agent, you never know. We still have other free agents that, we don't know exactly as we do this show what's going to happen, but Aaron Long coming back massive for the black and gold.
Yeah, of course, one of the captains of LAFC, Aaron Long, solid all year in 2024. I told him every single time I got a chance to talk to him, like, man, you are killing it out there. He says, thanks, man. I'm just going out there giving it my all. And he was, man. That's a massive news, massive signing there for me, that when I saw that, I was like, yes, got me some relief there, because I was wondering. He's one of the players that I was wondering, what's going to happen with Aaron Long in this offseason. I knew he had his deal was coming up, but he's back 3 more years, 3 more seasons of a solid defender. They're one of the best in MLS, and Aaron Long. Yeah,
great to see. Just a tough, rugged, good player, knows what he's doing, a true professional, just a really all-star type level, quality, could be a best 11 any year. But, it's just like that kind of consistency, which you definitely need in the back line in MLS, because there's a lot of teams going out and getting offense like they should. So you better be able to defend, because you're going to get run over. He's a
SoCal boy through and through, too. So that also feels good.
Absolutely. Some other things, we're going to do some quick hitting around the rest of MLS. If you've ever joined the show, the plus is around the rest of MLS. So we'll take some quick little things. There's plenty of stuff going on that we can't get to, obviously, time constraints. Mario, managerial hires, a couple of them that were big, I thought.
Yeah.
Greg Berhalter to Chicago to kind of run the show. Same thing for this man. In his 70s, Bruce Arena's back. Of course, he had to he left New England. They had the issues there. He got approved by the league to come back, be able to get another. So he goes to San Jose, and he'll kind of, you would think he's going to run the show, essentially, although they have, other people in place, Chris Leach and all that. But like Bruce Arena's going to have a lot of say, as is Greg Berhalter. I'll start us off here, Mario. I hate this hire of Bruce Arena.
I know why. He's one of the most accomplished. He is the most accomplished in MLS history, with the most regular season wins, playoff wins. He knows how to win. He's been here since the beginning. And he also has a squad out there. He has one of my favorite players in Hernan Lopez. I love to watch him.
Yeah.
Grueso's good. Christian Espinosa's good. It's not like he showed up there with like nothing to work with. He has some pieces to work with, Dave.
Oh, by the way, picked up our buddy Mark Anthony Kay in a trade.
That's
with
true.
A couple of guys coming from New England over that he knows. Yep. Bruce Arena, of course, coached those guys, so he knows how to use Dave Romney, Mark Anthony Kay. I hate this move for San Jose beat us last season once. Okay, I get it. Yeah. But we beat them twice, and I mean beat them twice in the regular season, and had no trouble with them for the most part. I mean, again, they had the one early game where we were kind of struggling all the way around, and they took advantage of that. And they generally kind of tried to punch us in the nose at times, but they were not good. They're not a good organization until now. Now we got 2 tough games against Bruce Arena and San Jose. I don't like that. I don't want the West getting better. That's just, no thank you. Greg Berhalter to Chicago is very interesting because Chicago's been such a, pardon the expression, a dumpster fire. You might as well call them the Chicago dumpster fire. I hate to do that, but it's such a bad joke. But that's going to change for me with Berhalter. I think, we've seen him in Columbus. This guy's not going to lose consistently. Yeah. He's too good. And these 2 managers are going to make those teams much better. MLS transparency was in the news, Mario. This is very interesting. We don't have a lot of time, but they released the general allocation money that is available to every team. That had never happened in MLS. We didn't, you had a lot of kind of, I guess, journalists who kind of, tries to nose around a little bit. And people try to obviously find the info. But MLS just full transparency, just released it. Now we know. And that is amazing. LAFC kind of not middle of the pack-ish, almost $4 million. Now, what that means, that's still a whole different show for us to explain to you, maybe sometime start of next year. But I don't even understand most of the cap stuff in MLS. It's tricky, but it is interesting. But the transparency is good. Now, trades mean a little more in the sense, like you can kind of evaluate them, let's say, a little bit better. Like, why did this team pay that? Or how much more do they have? Oh, they still got plenty, of general allocation. Well, apparently Inter Miami needed a little more because they got it from the Revs in a trade for Leo Campana, 2.5 million GAM, reported by Tom Bogert, I believe. Like almost 3, like 2.5 million, whatever the final number. Wow. But what a trade, Mario. The Revolution who struggled. What a trade.
What a player, right?
This kid can play.
Second leading scorer across all competitions for Inter Miami, just right behind Messi. He scored 32 times for the club, trailing just Messi. So I know New England had an awful season last year, but they're not that bad, Dave. They also have some pieces over there. Carlos Hill is a really, really nice DP. Luca Langoni. Now they have a true number 9 there with Leo Campana. So they're just a couple more moves away from really being a threat there in the East.
Yeah, look, Caleb Porter, whatever you think of him in terms of how you feel about him, he always ends up winning. Like that. Now, sometimes he might, kind of wear out his welcome, or he's not the, maybe like I don't know, he's not. It's hard to explain in a sense. Maybe you rub some people the wrong way. He's got his own style and his own, but he's a winner. That's all he cares about. And they're not going to be down long, I don't think, in the Revolution. I think I agree with you there. That was a big move. And that's a big splash of general allocation money. Look, it's not a traditional transfer window thing where it's $2.5 million, but that actually general allocation money has a lot of value in the league in terms of paying down your salary cap numbers sometimes. So 2.5 million of it just to get the rights to Leo Campana's contract. Wow. Big move for the New England Revolution. Mario.
Dave, and another team that got a new manager, Inter Miami, right? Mascherano. It's going to be his first managerial job in club football.
It's been so long since he was announced that we haven't had a show since then.
It's been a while. Right. No worries. It's been a while, but I know he's buddies with those stars over there, with Messi and Busquets and everybody over there. But Tata Martino really, really had to work last year, and he did an amazing job because Messi was out quite a bit. But Tata Martino got wins when Messi was out, so he did an amazing job. Is Mascherano ready to step in and do that? I mean, that's tough to do.
Well, yeah, it's interesting, though, with losing Campana, does that mean someone else is coming with all that general allocation money?
There's a lot of money.
Because he was valuable, no question. I mean, this is not a trade where a guy was struggling, and you just get rid of them, and you hope you get a little bit of general allocation money back, or you hope you get a draft pick. This guy was legit for them.
He had some nice goals for Miami.
Always ready, even if he was coming off the bench. So this is a big move for both teams. There's something going on, you think, for Inter Miami. There's something brewing. I would agree. Now, they lost, their general manager left, or whatever his title was. Sometimes these titles get a little, Chris Henderson goes now, reunites with Garth Lagerwey, who's running Atlanta United. Chris Henderson will essentially be their general manager, whatever the title, I don't even remember. So that's an interesting move, because Atlanta United, by the way, has the most general allocation money in all of MLS. They spend can. It's a big club with all the fans they can get in that building.
Big player, yeah.
Yeah, this could be interesting. So keep an eye out at Atlanta United if you're a neutral, or if you even just love MLS beyond LAFC.
Exactly.
Wow. And by the way, we're talking of all these teams, and I didn't even do this on purpose, Mario, but they all are pretty much on our schedule. At New England in August, middle August. So we'll see Leo Campana potentially, versus Atlanta at home and late in the season in early October. So all these interesting kind of things. Of course, we play Bruce Arena and San Jose twice anyway, always. But all these little moves, it's coming right back to LAFC's schedule this year. So it's all comes full circle here on schedule release day. Mario, I'm tired. I'm not in shape enough to do this kind of show. I got to get back into soccer shape here to do this LAFC Plus every week.
I know what you mean, because I know mid-season we're going to be gasping for air, just like the coaches and players are. I'm ready to get back at it. It's going to be a huge 2025, Dave. Like I said, it's going to be nonstop. It's going to be super congested. I mean, that's the word that we used in 2023. That was a huge. I know Cherundolo was like, I don't want to hear that word congested anymore. And we kind of took a little bit of a break in 2024, but 2025, that word congested is coming back again, because it's going to be crazy in 2025.
Well, let's hope so too, because that means a deep run in competitions like Concacaf Champions Cup, which, by the way, we all know, but is a ticket to the Club World Cup in 4 more years. We can't get in the one that's coming in the summer. That one's locked in. But if you win the Concacaf Champions Cup in 29, you're going to the Club World Cup. Come on.
Yeah.
You only get 4 opportunities to win your way into that competition. And it's not easy. But, man, we better be on it, and let's do it. And that's, I just hope we wrap that kind of spot up as early as possible too, Mario. How great would it be to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup this year, which is in and of itself amazing, but then to lock in a Club World Cup spot for 2030, knowing you're going to be there, that whole, in building towards that. And
as the 2024 defending champs of the U.S. Open Cup, I was wondering, hey, what's up with the U.S. Open Cup? Is LAFC going to be in that one as well? We don't know. The last word is we do not know yet. Well, but I hope so. That's another thing. So. I mean, if that gets thrown into the mix as well, oh my gosh, forget about it, Dave. We're not going to have any days off.
Sounds good. Great stuff, Mario. This does officially wrap up our 2024 with LAFC Plus. But good news. As we said, roughly around the second week of the preseason, early, relatively in terms of we won't be gone long. You'll have episode 43 coming up in 2025. Episode 42 in the books, the schedule release. Great day, great fun, Mario. Always good to talk to you, buddy. Good to hear your voice. And thank you so much. And take us out of here, will you?
Likewise, man. This has been LAFC Plus, a special edition as we react to this 2025 MLS schedule. That's Dave Denholm. I'm Mario Ruiz. We'll talk to you again when the preseason gets going, when the preseason gets underway. We'll be right back at it with LAFC Plus. We'll catch you on the next one. Happy holidays, everyone.